What secret hid in the shadows that day? I sat beside my 7-year-old grandson, Tommy. The lakeside lodge buzzed with a family reunion. I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where are you watching from? How far's it spread? The lodge glowed with warm, golden lantern light. My son James celebrated with his new love, Sophie. Tommy played with a tiny carved wooden boat. He sailed it across the crisp white tablecloth. His bright eyes were lost in his own world. The hum of relatives faded around his focus. My heart warmed, watching my sweet boy play. I fixed his suspenders with a gentle touch. It felt like holding a memory of his mother, Lily. Her soft laugh still echoed in my soul. A violin's melody wove through the warm air. Laughter mixed with the clink of crystal glasses. Lavender sprigs adorned each polished wooden table. Lanterns cast a soft glow on silver trays. I glanced at James, mingling with joyful guests. His smile hid the grief he carried deep inside. Lily's loss left a shadow in his tired eyes. Sophie, radiant in her silk gown, laughed brightly. Her joy seemed flawless, almost too perfect. A strange unease stirred deep within my chest. Was I just protective, or something darker? I brushed it off, blaming my cautious heart. Waiters glided silently, refilling drinks, clearing plates. An older couple smiled warmly at our table. Tommy's grown so fast. How old now, Clara? I nodded, my voice soft with tender pride. He's 7. Time slips away too fast. I cut a slice of pie for Tommy's hands. His eyes lit up, then returned to his boat. That toy was his safe harbor in the crowd. But then, Tommy froze, his hands suddenly still. His gaze turned sharp, too old for his age. A cold chill ran through me, stomach tightening. What could scare my brave boy like this? He grabbed my hand, his fingers ice. Nana, we need to leave. Now, he whispered. His voice trembled, heavy with raw fear. My pulse raced, dread coiling in my gut. I leaned close, hand steady on his shoulder. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Tell Nana now. Tommy shook, his lips barely moving. Nana, you didn't see it in the shadows, did you? His words hit like ice, piercing my soul. A dark fear bloomed, stealing my breath. What terrified Tommy under that table? I stroked his hair, forcing calm in my voice. It's okay, love. Nana will check for you. My heart pounded, but I had to be strong. I lifted the tablecloth, peering into the dark. Chair legs and Tommy's shoes filled the space. Then I saw Ida glint in the shadows. A tiny silver locket, half hidden in gloom. Its presence sent shivers down my spine. Why was it there? What did it hide? Tommy pressed closer, his breath quick, scared. His small hand clung to me, seeking safety. I crouched low, my fingers trembling as I reached. The locket felt cold, heavy with secrets. What truth lay locked in its delicate clasp? Would it unravel the day? Or our hearts? What deadly secret did that locket conceal? The lodge's chatter faded, my world collapsing fast. Only Tommy and that cursed locket remained in focus. I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where's this tale gripping you? How far's it spread? I opened the locket, my hands trembling with dread. A tiny note gleamed under the soft lantern light. Table 6, add peanuts to the boys' dessert. My heart stopped. Tommy's deathly allergic to peanuts. One bite could steal my grandson's fragile life. Our whole family knew this, yet the note existed. Who could be so cruel on James's joyful day? I clutched Tommy's hand, his small fingers quaking. I stood abruptly, ignoring the guests' startled glances. The older couple nearby froze, their eyes wide with concern. I hugged Tommy tightly, fearing he'd vanish in an instant. The music and laughter morphed into suffocating silence. Memories surged, ripping me from the gleaming lodge. Our family was once whole, bathed in endless light. I believed James's home would forever echo with joy. But life's cruel hand extinguished that radiant flame. Lily, my daughter-in-law, shone like dawn's first glow. Her warm smile wrapped me like a daughter's embrace. She brought peace with every soft, gentle word. I recalled breezy evenings at their quaint countryside cottage. Tommy, barely toddling, chased a wooden ball across the grass. Lily sat on the porch, kneading fresh bread with care. "Clara, try this loaf," she'd say, her eyes sparkling. We'd talk of simple joys, Tommy's giggles filling the air. I'd watch him play, his tiny hands clutching a toy boat. Lily's laughter danced like sunlight through the open windows. Her kindness made every moment feel safe, eternal. But one memory cuts deeper, raw with aching pain. Tommy, just 3, burned with a fierce, relentless fever. His tiny body trembled, eyes too weak to cry. Lily held him close, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Clara, I'm so terrified," she whispered, voice breaking. I sat beside her, cooling his brow with damp cloths. "He's strong, dear. He'll pull through," I reassured. But inside, fear gripped my heart like a stone. We stayed awake until dawn, when Tommy's fever finally broke. Lily's red eyes met mine with a faint, grateful smile. "Thank you, Clara. I couldn't face this alone," she said. I squeezed her hand, vowing to always stand by them. I thought their little family would sing forever, unbroken. But one stormy evening, a call shattered my world. "Mrs. Clara, there's been a tragic accident," the sheriff said. My hands shook violently. A glass crashed to the floor. Lily was gone. A truck stole her on a rain-slicked road. I stood frozen, feeling the earth crumble beneath me. At her memorial, rain poured like the sky's own tears. Tommy, so small, clung to me, confused and lost. "Nana, where's my mommy?" he asked, voice trembling. I hugged him tightly, choking back my own sobs. "Your mommy's in a beautiful place, my love," I whispered. But inside, my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. James stood by her grave, shoulders heaving, eyes empty. He tried to be strong, but grief consumed his soul. That loss left scars that time could never heal. Now, holding that locket, fear surged anew. Who dared to harm my Tommy on this day? His frightened eyes locked on mine, seeking safety. I held him closer, vowing to uncover the truth. What evil hid behind that note's cruel words? Would this locket's secret destroy us all? What shadow did Sophie bring into our lives? After Lily's death, James was never the same. He drowned himself in work, gone before dawn. I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where's this tale gripping you? How far's it spread? James returned long after Tommy slept. Exhausted, he was fleeing the void Lily left behind. But Tommy, my sweet boy, suffered most. His laughter faded, his eyes searching for her. He waited for a miracle to bring Lily back. I became his anchor, his safe harbor daily. Each morning, I walked him to school. At night, I sat by his bed, rocking gently. "Nana, tell me about Mommy," he'd plead softly. My voice cracked, sharing tales of Lily's love. How she sang lullabies, her voice like starlight. How she carved apples into shapes for his joy. Each story kept her spirit alive in us. Ellie, my adopted daughter, was our saving grace. Her warm heart lit up our darkened days. She'd visit often, arms full of wooden puzzles. Tommy adored her like a big sister. She'd lift him high, teach him letters with patience. They'd sit for hours, crafting lopsided drawings. "Tommy, your tree's better than mine," she'd laugh. Her voice rang clear, a beacon of hope. But sometimes, I caught Ellie watching James. When he trudged home, silent after long hours, her eyes held a depth beyond sisterly care. Was it love, unspoken, or something else? I stayed quiet, fearing I'd shatter our fragile peace. Could Ellie's heart hide a secret too? James's home grew quiet, laughter a faint echo. Yet Tommy and Ellie kept our family's spark alive. I fought to nurture that flickering flame daily. Deep down, I knew James and I bore scars. Each night, Tommy's sleeping face mirrored Lily's. My heart ached, her absence a constant wound. I recalled a crisp evening, years ago now. I sat in my cozy parlor, birds chirping outside. My heart wrestled with hope and quiet dread. James was bringing Sophie to meet me then. I wanted to embrace his chance at happiness, but a chill lingered, like a storm approaching. Could Sophie heal us, or bring more pain? That evening, James arrived late, eyes alight, a spark I hadn't seen since Lily's days. "Nana," he said, voice thick with emotion. "I want you to meet someone special." I paused, stirring a pot of homemade stew. "Someone special?" I asked, masking my unease. James's smile was wide, bright like his youth. "You'll love her, Nana," he said with certainty. I nodded, wiping my hands on my apron. My heart battled fear. Could anyone replace Lily? Not for James, not for Tommy, not for me. Sophie stepped in, radiant in a soft green dress. Her hair fell in waves, framing a perfect smile. "Mrs. Clara, it's an honor," she said warmly. Her voice was sweet, polished, almost too smooth. I smiled back, offering her a steaming tea. "Your home feels so warm," she said, glancing around. Her eyes lingered on a locket with Lily's photo. It hung on the wall, Tommy's tiny face beside her. That gaze lasted too long, unsettling my soul. Was it admiration, or something colder? I pushed the thought down, serving dinner warmly. The table held stew, fresh bread, and Tommy's favorite salad. James sat close to Sophie, his eyes never straying. Her laughter filled the room, bright but sharp. I watched her, heart heavy with unspoken doubts. Could Sophie hide a darker truth beneath? Was Sophie's charm hiding a darker truth? James's joy lit up our cozy cottage dinner. His pride glowed with every word about her. I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where's this tale gripping you? How far's it spread? Sophie plans events at my firm, he boasted. She's brilliant, Nanu. Love her talent. Sophie slid roast chicken onto my plate smoothly. "Mrs. Clara, this is divine. Teach me your secret." Her smile was warm, yet felt carefully crafted. Like a performer playing a flawless role. I nodded kindly, but doubt not my heart. Something in her laugh felt too polished, staged. Tommy sat silent at the table's head, normally bursting with tales of schoolyard games. Tonight he pushed his food, eyes fixed downward. He shied from Sophie's gaze, seeking a safe haven. What did my boy sense in her presence? Sophie reached into her bag, offering cookies. "For you, to me a sweet treat," she said brightly. Her voice dripped honey, aiming to win him. But Tommy stiffened, clutching his fork tightly. He turned away, ignoring the cookies completely. A flash of fear sparked in his young eyes. My chest tightened. What did he see in her? James frowned, his voice edging with irritation. "Tommy, why so rude?" "Sophie's being kind." I stepped in fast, shielding my grandson's silence. "He's just tired, dear. Let him be." James sighed, pouring Sophie more tea to ease tension. He hung on her every word, utterly enchanted. Ellie, across from me, ate in heavy silence. When Sophie's hand grazed James's under the table, Ellie's fingers froze on her cup, knuckles whitening. Her eyes darkened with more than sisterly care. Did Ellie hide a deeper ache for James? Her silence weighed heavier than any words. I yearned to ask what shadowed her heart, but the moment felt too delicate to probe. Could her quiet conceal a painful secret? After dinner, Sophie insisted on cleaning up. "Mrs. Clara, Restive, got this," she chirped. Her enthusiasm bubbled as she rolled up sleeves. She hummed a tune, leaving counters spotless. The plates were stacked neatly, the sink gleaming. For a moment, I thought her genuinely caring, but in the parlor, Tommy hunched over his sketch. He gripped a crayon, drawing with fierce focus. Sophie knelt beside him, voice overly sweet. "Tommy, Your art's amazing. Show me, please. He dropped the crayon, recoiling with distrust. His small face hardened, as if she were danger. Sophie caught my eye, flashing a quick smile. Such a shy little one, she said smoothly. But a strange glint flickered in her gaze. What truth hid behind that polished mask? James missed it all, laughing at her work stories. He poured more tea, chuckling at her every jest. As she left, he watched her with adoring eyes, like she was the only light in his world. I stood there, heart heavy with unspoken fears. Something about Sophie felt deeply wrong. Weeks later, a bright morning breeze swept through. I quilted quietly when Sophie burst in, smiling. Mrs. Clara, can I take Tommy to the meadow? Her voice sparkled with eager, vibrant energy. Tommy sat on the rug, stacking wooden blocks. His face was blank, eyes dull and distant. Sure, fresh air will do him good, I said. I forced a smile, though doubt churned inside. James was at work. Maybe play would help. Sophie took Tommy's hand, leading him out. I watched them leave, my chest tight with worry. Hours later, Sophie returned, brimming with tales. He raced down hills, begged for extra berries. Her excitement rang, but felt oddly hollow. Tommy trailed behind, clutching his toy boat. His shirt was streaked with mud-I'd ironed out. No smile, no words, just a heavy, silent stare. What happened in that meadow with her? That night, tucking him in, he whispered low. Nana, why does Sophie watch me so strange? My blood chilled as fear mirrored my own. What secrets did her perfect smile conceal? Was our family safe in her cunning hands? What cruelty did Sophie hide behind her smile? I knelt by Tommy, stroking his soft hair gently. Did you enjoy the meadow, my sweet boy? I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where's this tale gripping you? How far's it spread? He nodded faintly, eyes darting away fast. I wanted to probe, but Sophie cut in smoothly. He had a blast, Mrs. Clara, trust me. Her voice dripped sweetness, but doubt grew inside. One day, with James at work, Sophie arrived unannounced. I was stirring soup in the cozy cottage kitchen. Her voice floated from the parlor, soft at first. Then it sharpened. Sit still, Tommy, don't fuss. You're big now, stop acting like a baby. My hands froze over the carrots I chopped. A chill raced through me, heart pounding hard. I stepped out. Sophie's tone flipped instantly. What a clever boy. Look at his block tower. She flashed a radiant smile, pointing at Tommy's blocks. But Tommy's lips pressed tight, eyes pleading for rescue. I forced a smile. He's quite the builder. Yet unease burrowed deeper, a thorn in my chest. She's new to kids, I told myself, be patient. Tommy's 7th birthday warmed my weary heart. Ellie spent hours baking his favorite vanilla cake. She set it down, candles flickering with magic. Tommy's eyes sparkled, joy breaking through his quiet. Aunt Ellie, this is the best cake ever. He ran to her arms, hugging her tightly. Ellie's smile glowed, stroking his hair tenderly. I baked it just for you, my darling. That moment rekindled our family's fading flame. Sophie stood aside, clapping with a strained grin. Her gift, a quick pat and happy birthday, kid. Tommy flinched, avoiding her gaze entirely. My heart ached what made him shrink from her. I held my tongue, urging myself to stay calm. One day, James took Sophie and Tommy shopping. I stayed home, but their return chilled me. Sophie snapped. He spilled juice at the register. I had to pay for it, what a mess. James scolded. Tommy, you're too old for this. Tommy's head bowed, hands twisting, eyes seeking mine. I rushed over, resting a hand on his shoulder. Just a spill, love no harm done. But inside, Sophie's harshness gnawed at me. Why so quick to anger with a child? Lily's gentle patience was never like this. At school pickup, Tommy's teacher pulled me aside. Mrs. Clara, he's quieter, withdrawn lately. Is something troubling him at home? She asked softly. I brushed it off. Just changes, Mrs. Lane. But my heart sank, heavy with growing doubts. In the car, Tommy tugged my sleeve, voice shaking. Nana, I don't want to be with Miss Sophie. I knelt to meet his wide, fearful eyes. She cares for you, love, I said, unsure. He shook his head firmly, gaze unwavering. No, Nana, she doesn't like me at all. My breath caught. His truth pierced my soul. Ellie, nearby, overheard, her shoulders tensing. She turned away, hiding a quiet, trembling sigh. What pain did Ellie carry in her silence? Every sign Tommy's fear. Sophie's sharp words piled up. I'd seen them but tried to ignore the warnings. Now, at James's Lakeside Lodge celebration, a golden mountain sunset bathed the hall. It seemed to bless his union with Sophie. I sat at table 6, beside my dear Tommy. Ellie joined us, her eyes shadowed with worry. Tommy pushed his wooden boat across the cloth. He whispered soft sail sounds, lost in play. I gazed at him, my heart swelling with love. Yet a storm brewed beneath the festive glow. The locket's note still haunted my thoughts. Who slipped peanuts into Tommy's dessert? His allergy was no secret to our kin. Was Sophie's kindness a mask for something sinister? What danger lurked in her too-perfect smile? I held Tommy's hand, vowing to protect him. Would the truth tear our fragile family apart? Who dared to threaten my precious Tommy? She whispered gently, coaxing a smile from Tommy. I'm shaking as I share this secret. Like and subscribe. Tell me below, where's this tale gripping you? How far's it spread? Try a bit more bread, my sweet, she urged. She tore a small piece, her warmth a comfort. My heart eased, seeing their bond light the lodge. Despite our pain, Ellie and Tommy were my solace. James, in a sharp gray suit, wove through tables. He toasted relatives, his smile bright with hope. His joy seemed to bury the grief of Lily's loss. I watched, torn between pride and lingering sorrow. Could Sophie, radiant in her shimmering gown, bring him the home he'd lost so long ago? But her laughter, loud amid the camera flashes, felt too perfect, like a veil hiding truth. Each glance at Sophie pricked my heart with doubt. Was her charm a mask for something darker? The violin's soft notes mingled with guest chatter. Waiters glided, offering fruit tarts and sparkling drinks. Tommy took a tart, but nudged the nut plate away. I frowned, whispering, "Not hungry, my love." He shook his head, eyes dodging mine, hiding something. What made my bold boy so guarded tonight? A cousin chimed in, "Tommy's such a fine lad." I smiled, "He's my clever little man now." But worry not, his silence wasn't like him. Across the room, Sophie's gaze flicked to our table. Her smile tightened briefly, barely noticeable. Then she turned, toasting another guest with ease. I tried to shake my unease, blaming my fears. But then, everything shattered in a heartbeat. Tommy, playing with his wooden boat, pushed too hard. It slid off the table, clattering to the floor. He ducked beneath to grab it, then froze, stiff. His eyes widened, locked on something in the dark. I leaned down, heart racing. "What's wrong, dear?" With trembling hands, he pulled out a folded note. He clung to me, whispering, "Nana, we must leave." His voice quaked, fear raw in his small frame. My pulse thundered, dread choking my breath. "What scared you, love?" I asked, voice steady. His panicked eyes held mine, chilling my soul. "You didn't look in the shadows, did you, Nana?" His words were a blade, slicing through my calm. I lifted the tablecloth, peering into the gloom. The note lay by his chair, small but menacing. I grabbed it, hands shaking, world shrinking fast. Only Tommy, me, and that note existed now. I unfolded it under the faint lantern glow. Table 6. Add peanuts to the boys' dessert. The words hit like lightning, freezing my blood. Tommy's deadly peanut allergy known to all. I crumpled the note, my hand burning with rage. The music, the laughter, it all faded to nothing. Sophie, in her glittering gown, laughed in the corner. She raised her glass, carefree, as if untouchable. James posed for photos, beaming with coworkers. His smile screamed this was his happiest day. But to me, the lodge was a hollow stage, a veil hiding a sinister truth I'd uncovered. Who plotted against my Tommy on this day? The note felt like poison searing my skin. My grandson, my heart, nearly a victim. I turned to Ellie, her eyes wide with alarm. She'd seen my face, sensed the storm within. "Watch Tommy, please," I said, voice trembling. I couldn't hide the fear cracking my words. Ellie nodded, pulling Tommy into her arms. She held him like a shield, fierce and protective. Her gaze met mine, heavy with unspoken dread. What evil lurked behind this festive glow? The note's thread echoed, tightening my chest. Sophie's laughter rang, sharp against the music. Did her perfect smile conceal a wicked heart? I gripped Tommy's hand, vowing to find answers. Would this truth shatter our fragile family forever? Who schemed to harm my boy with that note? Ellie's voice trembled, low and laced with dread. "Nana, where are you going?" she whispered. Feel my fear unravel this plot. Like and subscribe. Comment, where does this mystery haunt you? How far's its shadow stretched? I shook my head, words lost in panic. My next step was unclear, but I had to move. My legs dragged like stone, heart racing wildly. At the lodge bar, waiters' laughter mocked my turmoil. Their carefree chatter clashed with my inner storm. I saw Ethan, the waiter who served our table. His usual warm smile meant nothing now. I stormed over, shoving the note in his face. "Who gave you this?" I demanded, voice sharp. Ethan's eyes widened, his grin fading fast. "That's my note. I dropped it by accident. A woman gave it for the chef," he stammered. His hands shook, mirroring my own terror. His words lit a spark in my foggy fear. "Who was she?" I pressed, nearly shouting. Ethan flinched, confusion clouding his young face. "No name. Mom just told me to deliver it." Rage surged like wildfire, burning my restraint. "My grandson could die from peanuts," I cried. "His allergies no secret. This could have killed him." Ethan's face drained, eyes wide with horror. "I swear, I didn't know. Just followed orders." His voice broke, caught in this dark web. Nearby waiters whispered, their glances heavy with unease. I clutched the note, its weight searing my palm. Fury begged me to scream, to shatter the calm. But Tommy's safety demanded I hold steady. A host's voice rang out, bright and oblivious. "Get ready for the main course, everyone." Each word tightened the noose of urgency. Hesitation could let death slip to Tommy's plate. I steadied my trembling frame, resolve hardening. I couldn't stay silent, not with this threat. With the note in hand, I returned to the hall. Lanterns glowed softly, music weaving through laughter. Waiters served herb-crusted salmon, aroma swirling. But the festive air masked a sinister truth. Tommy sat close to Ellie, eyes locked on me. His fear sought shelter in my unwavering gaze. I gripped his small hand, feeling his fingers quiver. A fire within drove me to stand tall. "Stop," I called, voice slicing through the din. "Before we eat, I need answers now." The hall froze, silence swallowing every sound. All eyes turned to table 6, where I stood firm. Tommy clung to me, Ellie's gaze fierce beside us. Glasses stilled, murmurs faded to eerie quiet. My heart pounded, louder than the hushed room. I held up the note, its words a burning charge. "Who ordered peanuts for table 6's child?" My voice quaked with fury, yet cut like steel. Whispers stirred, guests exchanging puzzled looks. Tommy's wide eyes begged me to shield him. James hurried over, his smile now worry. "Nana, what's wrong?" he asked, voice tight. I slid the note across, my tone icy. "Read it, James, see for yourself." His eyes scanned the words, face palling fast. His hands shook, glancing at Tommy in shock. What does this mean? He whispered, lost. His gaze searched for sense in the chaos. The hall held its breath, tension thick as dusk. Sophie stood still, her glass paused midair. Her polished smile wavered, a crack in her mask. Did she know who penned this deadly note? Ethan lingered nearby, guilt shadowing his face. Waiters watched, their whispers growing restless. Every guest seemed to hold a piece of truth. Tommy pressed tighter, his fear a silent cry. Who schemed to harm my boy on this day? The note's words hung heavy, accusing the dark. James's eyes met mine, dread replacing joy. Was his new life built on a hidden lie? Ellie held Tommy close, her gaze burning fierce. Her silence carried questions too heavy to voice. The lodge's warmth turned cold, shadows looming. The truth waited, ready to break free. I stood resolute, note in hand, heart steeled. No one would touch my grandson's life. This confrontation demanded answers now. Would it unravel James's dream of happiness? Sophie's eyes darted, her composure fraying. What secrets hid in her flawless facade? The hall waited, breathless, for the storm to break. My vow to protect Tommy would not falter. Who dared weave this plot against our peace? Sophie swept forward, her shimmering gown catching lantern light. Her feigned shock masked a glint of fear in her eyes. Is this a twisted prank? She asked, voice soft. I locked eyes with her, anger searing my chest. My grandson's allergic to peanuts, this is no jest. My words crashed like thunder, silencing the lodge. Guests gasped, jaws dropping, whispers rippling through. Eyes darted from me to Sophie's poised stance. Who schemed to harm my Tommy with this note? Sophie forced a laugh, clinging to her composure. No names on that note, Mrs. Clara, she sneered. You'd believe a child's tale from a scrap. Her mocking tone cast me as a frantic elder. Some guests murmured, could it be a mistake? Who'd plot such evil on a celebration day? Rage boiled within, threatening to shatter my calm. Sophie's audacity nearly stole my breath away. I longed to tear through her polished facade. But Tommy's trembling hand demanded my restraint. Ellie rose, cradling Tommy, her eyes blazing fire. Stop your lies, Sophie, she shouted, voice raw. Her cry echoed, slicing through the hall's pretense. Guests froze, stunned by her fierce, sudden outburst. Who could deny the truth in her pain? Sophie clutched her cheek, feigning wounded shock. She turned to James, tears welling for effect. She's crazed with jealousy, attacking me unjustly. Ellie stood firm, fists clenched, voice trembling. You're the one scheming against an innocent boy. Her accusation cut sharp, piercing the heavy air. Guests' gazes shifted, suspicion settling on Sophie. Her crafted smile wavered, mask starting to crack. James stood rigid, caught in a storm of doubt. Ellie, please calm yourself, he urged, voice unsteady. His eyes flicked from me to Sophie, then Tommy. Confusion tore at his heart, faith unraveling fast. Murmurs swelled, a tide of questions rising. All eyes fixed on Tommy, shaking in Ellie's arms. Sophie's voice sharpened, barely holding steady. This is slander, someone planted that note. Her hands quaked, betraying her flawless calm. Panic flickered in her eyes, facade crumbling. I couldn't bear her deception any longer. Fury erupted, and I slammed the table hard. Glasses rattled, music fading to eerie silence. Enough lies. I roared, voice cold as ice. Ethan, step forward now. I commanded fiercely. The young waiter shuffled up, face pale with dread. His eyes darted, trapped in the brewing storm. I thrust the note forward, voice firm but shaking. Is this the note you received? I demanded. Ethan nodded fast, stammering, yes, ma'am, it's mine. A woman from another table gave it to me. I dropped it by mistake with the tray. He bowed his head, guilt heavy on his shoulders. Sophie interrupted, voice shrill with desperation. He's mistaken, I know nothing of this. but a frail voice broke through the chaos. Leela, my young niece stood, tears streaming down. Her trembling frame shook, eyes red with anguish. It wasn't Sophie who gave it to me, she sobbed. She asked me to pass it to the waiter. I swear I didn't know its contents. Gasps echoed, shock rippling through the crowd. My God, how could this be? Guests whispered. Lila, barely 18, seemed lost in the nightmare. Her tearful truths softened my raging heart. Sophie spun toward her, face twisted with fury. Silence, Lila. How dare you lie against me? Her voice cracked, lips trembling with fear. The truth clawed through her carefully built mask. Who schemed to harm my Tommy with this note? The hall held its breath, tension thick as fog. James's face drained, joy replaced by dread. Was his bride the heart of this evil plot? Ellie held Tommy tightly, her gaze fierce with resolve. Her silence carried pain too deep to voice. The lodge's warmth vanished, swallowed by doubt. Every glance hunted for the truth's next piece. I stood unyielding, note in hand, heart No one would harm my grandson without justice. This moment demanded answers, no matter the cost. Would Sophie's lies unravel before us all? Her eyes darted, fear betraying her calm. What darkness lurked in her dazzling smile? The crowd waited, breathless for the final truth. Tommy's safety was my only guiding star. Lila shrank back, trembling, tears streaming down her face. I'm not lying, she sobbed, voice breaking with pain. She told me to pass it. Sophie did. Can you feel this betrayal's sting? Like and subscribe. Comment. Where's this truth cutting you? How deep's its wounds spread? Her words pierced Sophie's facade like a blade. The lodge hall stood frozen, shock gripping every guest. Uncle Thomas shook his head, voice thick with disgust. How could anyone target an innocent child? Who dared plot against my boy with that note? Ellie stepped forward, clutching Tommy tightly to her. Her voice cut cold, sharp with unrestrained fury. Deny it all you want. Let's hear the witnesses. Her challenge landed like a spark in dry grass. Sophie's face paled, lips tightening, eyes darting wildly. No words came. Her silence screamed her guilt. James stood still, hand quaking on Tommy's shoulder. He stared at Sophie, his bride, with shattered eyes. His voice cracked, clinging to a fading hope. Is it true? He asked, barely above a whisper. I saw his heart break, mirroring my own pain. Aunt Clara's voice trembled with righteous anger. This wickedness on a day meant for joy. Her words shook, heavy with betrayed trust. After Ellie's call for witnesses, silence choked the hall. Sophie, once welcomed, stood exposed, alone. Her face strained, lips pressed, searching for excuses. But the truth had cornered her. No escape remained. James moved toward her, eyes red, face taut. Sophie, tell me it's not true, he pleaded. His voice quivered, begging for a shred of denial. But deep down, his gaze held the painful truth. Sophie stepped back, forcing a brittle smile. You don't trust me, she said, voice faltering. It's their scheme. I've done nothing wrong. Her words rang hollow, crumbling under scrutiny. I glared at her, heart heavy with rage and grief. This woman, meant to heal my son's heart, now stood a stranger, a threat I hadn't seen. Ellie placed a hand on James's arm, voice steady. She nearly killed Tommy, don't you see? Her words sliced raw with protective fire. Sophie snapped, desperate. You're just a jealous fool. But Ellie stood unmoved, a shield for Tommy. How dare you? She retorted, voice like steel. Look at this boy, and deny your cruel intent. Tommy clung to me, his hands squeezing mine. His fear trembled through me, fueling my resolve. Guests rose, the festive air shattered to dust. Uncle Thomas slammed the table, voice booming. This is unforgivable. We demand justice now. Murmurs swelled, contempt turning toward Sophie. James cried out, voice torn with anguish. Tommy's my son. You tried to harm him. His words struck Sophie, her tears spilling fast. But those tears held no remorse, only defeat. Who could scheme such evil at this reunion? I set the note down, voice clear and unyielding. No one who threatens my grandson belongs here. My words rang final, a verdict etched in stone. Sophie's eyes flashed, but defeat dulled her fire. She'd lost not just to me, but to truth. Lodge staff approached, their tone firm yet calm. "Ma'am, please come with us," one said coldly. Sophie backed away, seeking allies, finding none. Guests shook their heads, glasses left half full. "Unbelievable," one muttered, voice thick with shock. "How could such cruelty exist?" Another whispered. James stood frozen, hands clutching his head. His world, built on new love, collapsed in ruin. The hall's warmth vanished, replaced by cold judgment. Every eye searched for the final piece of truth. Ellie held Tommy close, her gaze fierce with care. Her silence carried pain too heavy to voice. Sophie's mask had shattered, her lies laid bare. What drove her to target my precious boy? I stood firm, note in hand, heart steeled for justice. No one would harm Tommy without a reckoning. The crowd waited, breathless, as the truth unfolded. James's eyes met mine, filled with broken dreams. Was his new life a lie, woven by deceit? Leela's sobs echoed, her innocence caught in chaos. The lodge stood still, the festive glow now ashes. Sophie's gaze flickered, fear overtaking her calm. Her dazzling smile hid a darkness now exposed. Tommy's trembling hand anchored my resolve. This family would heal, but not with her here. The truth demanded justice, and I'd see it done. James sank to his knees before Tommy, voice cracking. "Forgive me, son, I didn't shield you from harm." Tears spilled down his cheeks, tearing my heart apart. Will this hope rebuild our hearts? Like and subscribe. Comment, where's this light reaching you? How far is its healing spread? I helped James rise, my grip firm on his shoulders. "We stopped it in time," I said, voice resolute. "This false joy ends here, she's no family." Sophie was led out, scornful glares trailing her. She'd never belong to our circle again. Could we rise from Sophie's betrayal? Days after that cursed lodge reunion, our world spun. Wounds lingered, unanswered questions heavy in the air. I felt I'd emerged from a nightmare, nearly losing Tommy. The story of that day spread through our village. Whispers traveled from neighbors to far off kin. The phone rang endlessly, each call a sharp reminder. Some blamed James for trusting Sophie so blindly. Others mourned for Tommy, nearly a victim of evil. Every ring echoed the terror we'd endured. James withdrew, a shadow of his former self. No longer the vibrant man in the gray suit. He took Tommy to school in heavy silence. His eyes held guilt, pain carving every glance. Sophie's name became a silent curse, never spoken. My heart ached for James, yet I understood his pain. Love can blind even the strongest hearts. Our family had to mend from this darkness. I cared for Tommy as I had since Lily's passing. I cooked creamy soup and apple pie, his favorites, hoping to weave safety back into his world. Yet Ellie was the one who truly healed him. Each morning, she packed his lunch with care, choosing foods safe from his deadly peanut allergy. She tucked in notes with doodled stars he loved. "Ellie, your drawings are the best." Tommy beamed. His eyes sparkled, innocence slowly returning. Could her love restore what Sophie tried to break? Each afternoon, Ellie took Tommy to the meadow. I watched from afar as she taught him to sail paper boats. Once, he tripped on a route, tumbling hard. Ellie rushed to him, brushing dirt from his clothes. "You're okay, my dear, I'm right here," she soothed. Tommy's laughter rang, a sound I'd thought lost. It warmed my soul like sunlight after a storm. Ellie wasn't just a sister, she filled Lily's void. One night, Tommy burned with a sudden fever. Ellie stayed by his side, cooling his brow gently. She whispered a tale of a brave moonlit sailor. I stood at the door, watching in quiet awe. James's gaze lingered on Ellie, complex and deep. Gratitude mixed with remorse in his tired eyes. He seemed to see something he'd long overlooked. I slipped away, leaving them their moment. Hope stirred in my heart, a light after the dark. Could we find peace after such betrayal? One evening, we gathered for a rare family dinner. The table glowed warm with my creamy soup. Tommy looked up, his clear eyes on Ellie. "I want Ellie to be my mommy," he said softly. His voice held a truth he'd carried for weeks. The room stilled, spoons pausing midair. Ellie blushed, gripping her napkin, eyes downcast. James froze, tears welling, struck by Tommy's words. They touched a deep chord in his wounded heart. I smiled, resting a hand on James's arm. "True joy, son, comes from a heart that loves purely." My voice was warm, carrying years of wisdom. James glanced at Ellie, a spark of hope flickering. His eyes held a new light, faint but growing. Time passed, and Sophie faded like a bitter wind. Her shadow no longer haunted our home. Ellie's laughter filled our days with warmth. Tommy's smiles returned, brighter with each sunrise. Our family, once fractured, began to heal slowly. The lodge's nightmare felt like a distant memory. James's gaze softened when he looked at Ellie. Could her steady love rebuild what was lost? I watched them, my heart swelling with quiet hope. The pain of Sophie's plot would never fully fade. But love, true and fierce, was stitching us whole. Tommy's hand in mine felt like a promise kept. Our family would rise, stronger than before. Tommy bloomed again, always near Ellie, clutching his wooden boat. His laughter in the yard eased my heart, yet pain lingered. Could love heal our scars from Sophie's betrayal? One day, James took Ellie's hand in our cottage parlor. His voice shook but held firm. "Nana, I was blind, endangering Tommy. Ellie's our true anchor, I won't let her go." Ellie's cheeks flushed, her smile radiant yet shy. Tears welled as I nodded, voice thick. "James, I just want you and Tommy to find joy." That night, with Tommy asleep, I gazed at the moon. Its silver glow lit our quiet village, a beacon of hope. Could we mend after such darkness? Our family had faced a storm, but light broke through. Ellie packed Tommy's lunches, avoiding peanuts with care. She drew little stars on notes, sparking his grin. "Ellie, your sketches are magic." He'd giggle, eyes bright. Each afternoon, she taught him to sail paper boats in the stream. When he stumbled, she dusted him off, whispering, "I'm here, love." His laughter, once lost, warmed my soul like dawn. Ellie wasn't just a sister, she was his haven. One night, Tommy's fever spiked. Ellie stayed by his side. She soothed him with a moonlit sailor's tale, cooling his brow. James watched her eyes heavy with gratitude and regret. I retreated, hope stirring, a new chapter dawning. At a family dinner, Tommy's voice broke the quiet. "I want Ellie as my mommy," he said clearly. Ellie blushed. James's eyes teared, touched deeply. I smiled, hand on his shoulder. True joy, son, grows from hearts that love fiercely. Sophie faded like a bitter gust, leaving us stronger. Does this love light your path? Like and subscribe. Comment, how's this hope moving you? Where's its glow reached?